Welcome back, guys. My name is Patrick, aka the Oilers Fanatic, and this is the Oilers Rundown for Friday, January 21st, 2022. Well, guys, it feels like something might be going down here. There's been quite a few developments today, nothing groundbreaking. Let me go over quick everything that's kind of gone down here. So a lot of people were hoping to wake up this morning to the announcement that Dave Tippett was being fired, but that's not happening yet. The speculation is that if the Oilers have another bad game against Calgary, that'll be the final straw and Tippett is gone. Whether that actually happens remains to be seen. Ryan Rishaug put out this tweet that kind of breaks down his thoughts on what's happening with Dave Tippett and the Oilers overall. My sense is a coaching change is not imminent today. It's going to be a day-by-day process for now. A poor result / effort versus Calgary, and there likely won't be any choice. As far as candidates, if change happens, Gulutzan on an interim basis is the most likely in my opinion. It allows them to shake things up to a degree, but then conduct a proper off-season search. This next coaching hire is hugely important for the organization and for their two star players, and making a decision from a diminished pool of candidates under pressure is not ideal. I could see some roster tweaking in the near term, nothing major, while they let Skinner Smith handle the nets, possibly sign Kane, get RNH and Hyman back. Tempting option for the GM, I think, considering the main issue with this team is on him. Tough to fire Tippett for something the GM wasn't able to fix. That said, lots wrong with the group right now, and tons of blame for Tippett is fair. Results are what they are. It's day-to-day right now on the coaching front, which is an uncomfortable place to be. So yeah, I think Rishaug kind of sums it up nicely. I personally don't want to see Gulutzan on an interim basis. I think Jay Woodcroft is this team's future. If you're going to fire Dave Tippett, I think you should promote Jay Woodcroft. Give him a couple-year contract. Don't bring him up on an interim basis. Let Woodcroft take over and start building with his team. Yes, it might not work out perfectly here in this first season, but let Woodcroft kind of build it up. Like, you've invested in this guy. He's been on your coaching staff before. He's been coaching your prospects. Let this guy build into the coach that you want him to be. We then heard that the Oilers were going to be bringing up Brad Malone and signing him to an NHL contract. Malone's currently on an AHL deal with the Bakersfield Condors and has 19 points in his last 22 games. So, strong forward. He's been up with the Oilers before in previous seasons. He could probably help as the fourth line center. But there was a development there, of course. Malone has come down with COVID, so he's currently on COVID protocol, so the Oilers can't bring him up, they can't sign him, but we can probably look forward to seeing that happening once Malone clears COVID protocol. Expect him to sign an NHL deal with the Oilers and be called up from Bakersfield. Irfan Ghaffar with the fourth period had this tweet. Sounds like we could hear something one way or another regarding the Evander Kane investigation by this weekend. Strong indication, if all goes well, he could play Tuesday in Vancouver against the Canucks. So he's implying, obviously, with this tweet that Evander Kane will be signing with the Oilers and could be in the lineup for the Oilers on Tuesday when they take on the Vancouver Canucks. So we'll see what happens. We've been kind of hearing different information on Evander Kane over the past few days. It was reported earlier by Nick Kyprios that we probably wouldn't hear anything on Kane until next week. Now it's possible this weekend, so if Kane's going to be available for Tuesday, the deal would have to be done sometime over the next few days. Darren Dreger of TSN put a kibosh on two potential Oilers coaching candidates. Dreger confirmed that Mike Babcock intends to stay with the University of Saskatchewan until the end of March and has no intentions on coaching in the NHL this season. So no matter what happens, don't expect Babcock to be joining the Oilers. And Paul Maurice also has no intention of coaching this season in the NHL. Not sure about next season, but for this season anyway, Mike Babcock and Paul Maurice are off the board as potential coaching candidates if the Oilers do fire Dave Tippett. Mark Spector confirmed that Stuart Skinner will not be out of COVID protocol in time to play Calgary, so it will definitely be Mikko Koskinen in the Oilers net unless the Oilers acquire a different goaltender in the meantime. I know some people have brought up possibly putting in Ilya Konovalov, but you don't really want to do that to that guy in his very first NHL start. The team's struggling so terribly, a big Battle of Alberta game, tensions are high. If he already had some games under his belt and stuff like that, I'd say it's a different story. Then at noon, we found out Kyle Turris has been placed on waivers, and he will most certainly clear. And the other player that the Oilers received in the Duncan Keith trade, Tim Soderlund, who's been playing for Bakersfield and in the ECHL, has been placed on unconditional waivers for the purpose of contract termination. He'll be headed to Europe, so Tim Soderlund, as of noon tomorrow, will no longer be an Oiler. Then late this afternoon, the Oilers put up this following update. Mike Smith has been placed on injured reserve, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has been placed on long-term injured reserve, and Seth Griffith has been reassigned from the Bakersfield Condors to the Edmonton Oilers taxi squad. Griffith has 33 points in 25 AHL games for the Bakersfield Condors. So from what's being speculated with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, placing him on long-term injured reserve shouldn't be a huge concern for Oilers fans. I think he's still on track to come back as scheduled. The Oilers can backdate putting him on long-term injured reserve. This move seems to be more to create cap space for the Oilers. By putting Nuge on long-term injured reserve, they gain back his $5.125 million in cap space that they can use right now. And then once Kyle Turris clears tomorrow, they'll gain another $1.125 million. So they're going to have over $6 million in cap space that they can use, temporarily anyway, obviously not for an extended period of time. Until Nuge comes off injured reserve, the Oilers do have quite a bit of space. A lot of speculation that this is for a trade. And obviously, if Evander Kane is signing with the Oilers, then they're going to need cap space to sign him. These moves allow the Oilers to do that. Obviously, all the talk right now is that the Oilers are trying to find a goalie. We're hearing names like Martin Jones, Jonas Korpisalo, Anton Hudobin. Whether any of these names come to pass, we'll have to wait and see. I was hoping that the Oilers were going to find a way to bring in a different goalie today. It might still happen. It could happen tonight, but it's probably unlikely at this point that it's going to happen before tomorrow's game. I just wanted to see a different goalie other than Koskinen going in against Calgary, but doesn't look like that's going to happen at this point. It'd have to be a pretty quick turnaround if there was a trade to get the player into Edmonton on time, but we'll see what happens anyway. But yeah, that's kind of where all this talk about something looks to be happening with the Oilers, because they're creating all this cap space. So Ken Holland has room to maneuver right now. If they can somehow get Koskinen out, that will create even more cap space for the Oilers to work with. So it looks like Ken Holland's up to something. Whether he succeeds in doing what he's doing, time will tell. So I think that's all for now, guys. Obviously, I will come back on and do another video if something big does go down. If nothing huge goes down between now and tomorrow night's game, I will just see you guys tomorrow night for the Fanatic Rundown following the Oilers and Flames. Hopefully we can talk about a big win. If we're talking about anything else, we might be talking about the end of Dave Tippett's time in Edmonton. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If this is your first visit to the channel and you like what you see, please consider liking and subscribing for all the latest Oilers content. You've been watching the Oilers Fanatic. Thanks for being a fan. Have a great night, guys, and I might see you really soon. Take care.